Hi all, and welcome back to another video. We are now on to day 3 of our Cheltenham preview here, and we're covering obviously the Thursday card. In this video we will cover the 4 graded races, because there's only 4 on the third day and the fourth day, because there's 3 handicaps on both, and we'll go into them obviously in the handicap video, which will come after the day 4 preview. So we'll be covering in this episode is the JLT, the RYANAIR, the Stayers Hurdle, and the Mayor's Novice, which wouldn't be my favourite race, but has to be covered at some stage. So without kind of messing around too much, I hope you've been enjoying the first 2 episodes of this little preview series, and we'll head straight on into the JLT, where we do have Willoughby Court as the 4-1 favourite. Invitation only 7-1. Footpads in there, he's not going to run. Modus 10-1, Album Photo 12s, Benatar 12s, Finian's Oscar 12s, Monolith 12s, and Terrafort 12s and 16s bar. Now Willoughby Court seems to be a pretty warm order in this race, but I think at 4-1 he is too short here. I don't think his form is that good, if I'm being perfectly honest. I don't think he probably justifies being the 4-1 anti-post favourite 2.5 weeks out from the festival. And his performance last time out really just not unnerved me, but it put me off completely, really. They dropped him in, they didn't make the running. There was obviously a ploy of some sort, but it didn't work out. He ended up getting smashed by Yanworth and sizing Tennessee. I don't think that's the best chase form you'll ever find, I don't think, because Yanworth's not a very good chaser, as has been shown by the fact he's now going back over hurdles. And sizing Tennessee, well, he's not too bad, but he probably should be beating him. I suppose, I guess what people have in his favour, this is more like 2.5 miles, good ground, and he can bomb out in front again and probably do the same as he did in the Neptune. But I don't think at 4-1 that's value. It was value last year when he was 14-1 and did that. I think the reason why he's so warm is that, if we're being all honest here, this isn't that good a race. It doesn't look that good a race. You compare it to the Yorkhill, which looks a very good race. The RSA shapes like it could be a very good race. This one doesn't, if I'm being perfectly honest. It doesn't have great horses at the top of the market. Invitation only at 7s. He's got a chance. It does look like this is his preferred target, and I see no reason why he couldn't go close. But that being said, if he's at 7s, I'm much more fancying Album Photo at 12s for Willie Mullins as well. Well, second to Monolith. As we all know, Monolith, one of my favourite horses in training, in that Flowgas Novice chase. The only thing I have, well, there's a few worries about Album Photo. I don't know whether he's actually going to run in this race. And, he could well run in the 3-miler. And also, his jumping can be a bit dodgy at times, if I'm being perfectly honest. He was poor jumping-wise in that Flowgas Novice chase. I don't know how he rallied to come second. That was a really good performance. The time beforehand, he was going to win a Grade 2 over fences at Limerick over Christmas, but fell at the last when in the lead. So there is jumping frailties there. I'm kind of hoping that last time in the Flowgas he was a bit slow because he'd fallen the previous time, and perhaps he's gained confidence from a clear round. That would be my hope anyway. And I think if Invitation Only and Album Photo both line up, I don't understand why Invitation Only is 7s and Album Photo is 12s, and Album Photo finished ahead of him. I'm not so sure why that is, but I like Album Photo, and this one's going to, I suppose, cause, not controversy, but I do still hold out an ounce, and it's only an ounce, of hope in Finian's Oscar. I do think he should be running in the 3-mile race. I said that in the previous video. I would have put him up in the 3-mile race, Eachway to Monolith all day long. But he does look like he's going to run in this race. And I do think if I'm putting him up for the 3 miles, I should probably put him up for the 2.5. The issue, as we all know with Finian's Oscar, is the jumping, because it's crap. There's no kind of way of saying if or but. He's just not good. I saw him at Cheltenham. He was ponderous, but then again he quickened quite well to beat Move with the Times and Kustar Civil. And that's it was not a bad race in the end. But he did jump poor enough that day, then was completely taken off his feet in the Henry VIII Novice at Sandown, came third, made mistakes but was rallying to the calls when denied by Benatar in that Grade 2 at Ascot. And then don't start me on the hurdles run. Hurdles run was never going to work, and I don't know why it was ever even employed as a tactic. So that would be my two. Like, they're both at 12s. Like, they'd probably be my two winning / each way bet. Maybe if you want one at a big price, and I do mean a big price, potentially sizing Tennessee at 33s here. Again, I don't know whether he's going to run. And more than likely, he definitely will run in the 3-mile race, where he has a bit of an each-way squeak, but his form is actually not that bad throughout the whole year. I think people just write him off because he's got beaten a few times, but he's right up there with the top. And if you're a fan of Yanworth, which I know not many people are, but if you are, then you think sizing Tennessee is not too bad. So sizing Tennessee at 33 to 1 may be worth a couple of quid each way. That moves us on to the RYANAIR Chase, which is a very interesting race, I think. It's got a few here. You know, Min's not going to run it. Stuvan's certainly not going to run it. But apart from that, these are good horses. You know, Underso tops the market with Waiting Patiently, both at 3 to 1. Fox Norton 11 to 2. Top Notch 8s. Balco to Flow 9s. Q Card and Yorkhill 10s. Jackadam 12. Benny to Do 14s. It's a high quality field. If all of them go to post, I doubt all of them will, but most of them will. And I'm not sure, because I know a lot of people want to oppose Underso here. 10-year-old now. Is he quite as good as he used to be? He loves soft ground. He won't get that here. But people seem to be making these arguments, which are perfectly true, especially the soft ground stuff about Underso. I get that. But yet, tipping up Waiting Patiently against him. And I'm a big fan of Waiting Patiently, and I tipped him up for the Ascot Chase. He did win, and he won really, really well. But they are saying that he wants heavy ground. So, in fact, actually, I think if you're ruling out Underso on ground reasons, you have to rule out Waiting Patiently on ground reasons. If I'm being honest, if you're taking that view, I think you're a bit ill-informed. Like, you saw Underso last year, he was perfectly good on the ground. He doesn't mind the ground, it's just he's not quick enough to run 2 miles on the ground. Maybe 2.5 he can do. Waiting Patiently is a complete unknown quantity still, I think, even though he's won that Grade 1. He's a terrific horse. Does he want the quicker ground? I'm not sure. I'm a massive fan of Underso. I don't see what he has done wrong. Like, what are people complaining about? He's beaten Speradek 10 lengths on absolutely bottomless ground. Won the Clarence House the 3rd year in a row, and people are complaining. Like, give me a break. Underso, he barely gets beat ever. Like, the only times he gets beat is on 2 miles on good ground. On 2 miles on soft ground, you cannot beat him. And so far, on 2.5 miles on good ground, you can't beat him either. So I don't see what the issue is. Underso at 3 to 1, I think is a banker bet. To win, potentially. Because this is going to stir. If people thought they were getting stirred up by me saying Finian's Oscar, what about Yorkhill? Will he run? I don't know. I hold my hands up, I don't know. But if he does, I think he'll run a massive race, if I'm being honest. I really do. I think Yorkhill is still a talented horse. He has been absolutely useless this year. They tried him over 3 miles, too long. We all knew that. He was never going to stay 3 miles. Then they tried him over 2 miles, of which some goons think he was always going to be a 2-miler. Also not true, not quick enough. Where's his 2 best performances been? Like, you look at actually his form. His form in Ireland is useless. Like, he went and won the JLT last year in Cheltenham, having beaten Jet by a length at Leopardstown in a Grade 2, having jumped awfully, and then went on to win a Grade 1 at Cheltenham, with his head in his chest, really. Like, if he was only for the fact that he was absolutely tapped up here, he would have won the race by 5 or 6 lengths. But he wanted to go off on another circuit. I think if they get him back and they run him in this race, which they must do, because he wants 2.5 miles. It's not that complicated. It's not 3, it's not 2, it's 2.5. I think he could run a very good race. From the back, I think you hold on to him, like exactly the JLT last year, and then right near the end, you let him go and see if he can go and catch Undersow. I have a feeling he could do so. Or he could certainly, no, because I'm a big fan of Undersow. So I'm hoping Undersow wins. But I think Yorkhill at 10-1, if he runs, if he turns up on the day, 10-1 will not be seen anywhere. I think he'll be backed into around 5 or 6s, if I'm being perfectly honest. So it would be Undersow with Yorkhill to trail him in. Then we move on to the Stairs Hurdle, which is an interesting division, if I'm being honest. Super Sunday has got fantastic form now in the book. Second Apples Jade, no disgrace in that over 3 miles. And then went on to beat Faugheen. Why not, at 2 miles? But he's 10-3. Is he a little short? Perhaps so. I think Super Sunday, I've been a big fan of Super Sunday. I do like him as a horse, but you'd have to like a horse a lot to be 10-3 in such an open-looking contest. You've Sam Spinner at 5s and Yanworth at 5s. I like Sam Spinner, an improving horse. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think this year will come too soon for him as a horse in his progression. He's only 6 now, I think. He was only 5 from winning the long walk. I don't really know. Lammy Surge is a bit of a dodge pot, really. Like, he wants a left-handed track. Ascot's right-handed. Like, a lot of things were against him. You know what I mean. Harry's nowhere near the horse he used to be. But don't take away from Sam Spinner. I think he could run a big race, but I think as a 6-year-old, he could lack the experience and the nous of the big race, and I would be more inclined to go back with him perhaps next year as a 7-year-old or perhaps an 8-year-old and see if he can win it there. Yanworth I'm staying away from. I'm one of those people that doesn't really like Yanworth, even though he did beat Super Sunday at Aintree, but I'm not tipping up Super Sunday, so no issues. I've got 2 here, and I think they both have good chances. If they run, and this is a big if, because neither of them have been seen for a bit, one for ages, and one of them is Penhill for Willie Mullins at 10-1. Scooted away to win the Albert Bartlett last year under a waiting Paul Townend ride. Went on to beat Monolith by around 3 lengths and won really decisively in the end, won going away. Then was second in the Champion Stairs Novice. That doesn't sound right, but it was the 3-mile novice at the Punchestown Festival. Was only beaten half length that day, I think, by Champagne Classic. There's no disgrace in that form either. Hasn't been seen since. That's the worry, obviously. But I was just so taken with the way he won the Albert Bartlett. The Albert Bartlett, usually known as such a war of attrition type race, and actually it looked as if he just joined in the home straight. Like, he scooted away and left good horses for dead there. Monolith is a cracking horse. Holstone was back in 3rd. He's a good horse. Death Duty fell at the last when a well-beaten 5th. He's not a bad horse. Augusta Kate was back there as well. The World's End. It's loads of good horses in that race, and he won it silly. I think Penhill's got a good chance here at 10-1. And the other one would be, I think he could well run in this because his chase career has gone down the pot. But Bacardi's also for Willie Mullins at 12-1. He's a good horse, Bacardi's. He had an indifferent year last year as a novice hurdler. He took a while to get to the boil and then won the Deloitte at the Leopardstown Irish Gold Cup Day, beating Bunkoff early. Was pulled up in the Neptune, was stopped to a standstill by the fall of Consul de Taille in that race. Was never given a race. Like, Ruby Walsh pulled him up pretty swiftly after that, and then went back to beat Finian's Oscar, who seemed unbeatable at the time in the 2.5-mile novice hurdle at the Punchestown Festival, the Grade 1. His chase career has gone poorly. 2 runs, a very slow and ponderous 3rd on debut, and then he fell last time out in the race at Snowfalk and won at the Leopardstown Christmas Festival. Hasn't been seen since. It looked like he was going to run in the Galmoy, but he was a late non-runner for that race, which was a shame, because it would have been nice to see him back as a hurdler, because he's a better hurdler, obviously. He showed some good form there. And I think he's an all-out galloper as well. He was always staying on. I think 3 miles will suit. Probably the good ground won't be against him, considering he won on it last year. And perhaps at 12 to 1, he's a bit of a price. You know, you could tip up Super Sunday 10 to 3, Sam Spinner 5 to 1. But I've picked out 2 alternates here. They both have to run, though, to be fair. If neither of them run, I would, on the day, if you could get 10 to 3 Super Sunday, I think on the day that's not a bad price. But 2.5 weeks out, I don't find that a good price. Penhill, Bogarties for me, if they run. And that is a big if, obviously, because both of them haven't been seen for quite a while. We go to then the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. I think we can hum and haw all we want. I don't think there's much to this race, if I'm being perfectly honest. I see Mullins taking it out for the 3rd time in a row with LAURINA here. Looks a near on certainty, I think, at 6 to 5. Maria's Benefit has showed miraculous improvement and is 4 to 1, but her latest run was at Doncaster, I think, when she beat Irish Road by a half length. That's not that great form, and apparently she's had a tiny, I think very small, but a tiny setback in training since. It's interesting, there doesn't seem to be much else here, if I'm being honest. Salsaretta is entered everywhere in novice company for Willie Mullins and Rich Ritchie. Haven't seen him in Britain or Ireland, just a 3 French runs, so we don't know what she's like. I think if you want one on a price here, perhaps to fill in 2nd or 3rd, I will stick my faith still, even after last time, at the Ascot Chase Day with Dame de Compagnie at 16 to 1. Travelled like a really good horse that day and found little to nothing off the bridle, if I'm being perfectly honest, which would obviously put a lot of people off. But at 16 to 1, she's not a bad price. And I think off that end-to-end gallop, maybe hold on to her that little bit more. She could sneak into 2nd or 3rd at 16 to 1. So they're the 4 races. If I'm being perfectly honest, at the moment, it doesn't look the best 3rd day I've ever seen. I don't think the JLT looks that great, and it has been good in previous years. RYANAIR looks a tasty race. Stayers Hurdle is competitive. And the Mayor's Novice is the Mayor's Novice, if I'm being perfectly honest. There's not much to it. It doesn't do much for me. So the next one is obviously Gold Cup Day. So we're covering like the Triumph, the Albert Bartlett, and obviously the Gold Cup itself. Perhaps with the Fox Hunters, if I'm feeling a bit adventurous. And then after that, we'll obviously have the video where we cover the 9 or 10 handicaps that are there throughout the meeting. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did so, give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. I'm sure I'll be putting out more and more videos as we lead up to Cheltenham. Yeah, and hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, see you next time. Happy bunting.